right.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
currently, I am in my final year of undergraduate Bachelor of Technology, and my majors are Electronics and Communication Engineering. And right now, I am in my final semester, and soon in July, I would complete my, uh, the undergraduate studies, all of those semesters. And moving ahead, I have done two summer internships. Uh, One of them was through the MyTech's Global Link Research Internship, and that was in Polytechnic Montreal, Canada. That was a research internship. I worked under a supervision uh, of a professor at that university,
Uh-huh.
and that project was based on deep learning and machine learning. And the 2021 summer internship, I did it in IIT Delhi. Again, a research internship with Professor Farida, and that was based upon data analysis and market research. So with that, I have done a couple of projects, and that are also based upon machine learning and computer vision. Uh,
Mm.
that is basically the main interest of what I want to do, and what I am doing right now is deep learning, machine learning. I'm not very much, knowledgeable about it, but yeah, I try to learn about it. I try to work upon projects. So that is all related to my academics,
Mhm.
and that I have a bit of volunteer experience as a lead at a technical club in my college, where I am working on again some projects and guiding my student juniors actually. So that is one. And second, I also do a bit of uh, kind of extracurriculars in music. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. So let's talk about your plans after you graduate. What are you planning to do? And then relate questions related to that.
Right. So right now, what my plan to I am looking into pursuing a master's, specifically Master of Science or Master of Engineering,
Uh-huh.
and my focus would be a industrial one. Because as I mentioned in the email, I'm looking forward to work in the industry after I complete my graduate study.
Uh-huh.
So that is my long-term goal
And
right
and
now.
and so is do you have you any specific universities or that you would like to, or countries that you would like to apply?
Mainly I am looking to Canada and US. The
Okay.
reason being, because I do have a scholarship for Canada, and so that would help me a bit. And
So you already
yeah,
you already have admit and a scholarship from some university in Canada?
no, not particular university, but I have a $15,000 scholarship through the MyTech's research I did last year. So that
Oh,
program gives you a scholarship and an internship experience. So
okay.
through that,
Okay. It's the universities in Canada.
right, or for all universities in Canada.
Oh, for all universities in Canada. Okay. And getting a scholarship is important for you.
Yes, to some extent,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about your questions now. If you can go through them, you already have it. So let's see your questions now. Okay. So you're saying about what factor influence the decision. Okay. Okay. So I think that your first question is about doing masters in India versus abroad, right?
Right, right,
So I would say it really depends on a couple of things. One is like many people, they say, we want to come to US because we want to work in US or Canada, right?
right,
So if that is the case, definitely coming to US or Canada is extremely important, because it is not it is almost not possible impossible that you do your masters in India and then you're applying for jobs in US.
Okay.
So if that is the factor, you have to come. That's number one, right?
o-
And
Okay.
then second part, then many people don't come is if they don't have a scholarship and they can't afford to take a loan. They say,
Right.
hey, it's not gonna help. Let me do masters in India and get a job in those companies like TCS or Accenture, whatever. And then it may be possible that the companies might send me to Canada and US, and somehow I will go there and then live. And many people have done that. I have friends who have done that.
Okay.
Um, so that's the other way to do it. I have a cousin who used to work in TCS, came here, worked for 5 years, and then after that he went to do his MBA, and then he's staying here for so many years. So
Oh,
that's a long route, right? But then the usual route is people come here, they do masters, and the reason is, unlike PhD, masters is like 1 year, 1.5, or 2 years maximum. It's much easier to do. If you don't do a thesis, that's fine. And it's much easier to do a master's than doing a bachelor's in some sense, because it's just 2 years, and then
right.
you are you can find a job and move on. So just these are the factors that will influence India versus abroad. That's all.
Okay.
Okay. So you can evaluate your own social and financial situation and say, okay, because not many people also come because of the social reasons. They say, I get homesick and all that. I have parents. I don't want to leave them. That's also true. So so these are the factors, and just evaluate those factors based on your situation and make a decision.
Okay.
Second thing you said, is it worthwhile to leave behind the comfort of home and study abroad, hope for a full-time employment? Is it worthwhile to leave behind the comforts of home and country in order to pursue studies abroad and hope for full-time employment now? The goal has to highly skilled palette as well as an environment conducive to a consistent growth. I think I answered that question in my first part,
Right.
but if I will ask you, so one part of that is homesickness, as I mentioned, right? So it
Right.
depends on you, your family, and basically you. I would the second part of it, I would say, as far as the growth and all that thing is concerned, unlike in 90s where people came because India was not growing that fast, there were not opportunities. I mean, the today's India, in my opinion, what I see, and even in my college and IITs, people are the thought process has changed a lot. There are much more opportunities. I mean, if you look at companies who are here, especially IT companies, everyone is doing business in India. Everyone,
Right.
right? So,
Right.
I would say here what I would say. If you are a person who feels that you want to have a salary job and where you can make a good money and have a good living, I would not say good living, average living, in American standard way and things like that. Come to US. But if your thought process is, I want to do something different, I want to make a
Okay.
change, definitely that will include a lot of hardship and all that, right? It's not an easy path. But then I think that's in that case, India is the place to be, because the number of startups that are coming, the new ideas that you can put and things like that is definitely you can do. I think you can do much better. One of the things that you have to understand in US, if you come here, one of the things you have to always struggle is the visa. Always, you will be you will feel some sort of you are in some sort of a constraint that you can't do many things because of visa, and
Okay.
it will always going to be. And perhaps one of the news that you have heard these days is a lot of people who are getting laid off from Google or Microsoft,
True.
and the one of the things that come up, they are in H1 visa. If they don't get a job, they have to come back, right?
Right.
That fear of that is not good. And it's the people who are on visa, the fear is always there. Having said that, you have to also, I will also say, there are 80 or 90,000 students, I guess, come to US every year. I really wonder even 2% go back. So if I say these things, people live with these conditions and they live. But the
Right.
constraint is always there that restricts them to do the things they want to do. I know many cases, not many cases, but few cases where people like my juniors and some people I know through LinkedIn that just left the job and then went back and started something in India. So that means that that India is in India. There is something going on, I think, which I'm unaware of because I don't live there. But definitely I
Right.
see that. So just think that process. If you have a team of people like few of your friends and all, and then you may be able to do good things. There's another thing I would also say. If you want to pursue studies, definitely go outside, because that will give you a very different thinking and thought process, and then you can also evaluate whether you want to stay and not. And that decision will be guided by whether you have a loan or not, because a lot of people who decide to stay is because they have a loan and they have the loan to pay, and it's much easier for them to pay a loan if they have a job there. And once you start doing a job, they never go back. But if you don't have a loan, let's say you finish your studies, your debt at zero, then you can say, I don't care because I don't have anything to pay back, right? So I can either stay or I go back.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Number three, I would like you to assess my qualification, grade study, MS in engineering. I think you have done a decent job for undergrad, to be honest with you. I think you are well versed, you have internship experience and all that. And looks like one thing I did not hear from you is, and which doesn't matter that much, because you're not talking about doing a PhD, right? So you're talking about doing masters. So for
Right.
you, for whatever you have told me and whatever I see from your resume, I think it's you are well qualified for doing a masters. And as I said, masters doing masters in Canada, US, or anywhere is much easier. It's not difficult. You will find it much easier, especially you are coming from India doing a 4 year degree, where teachers are always on top of you and looking at your GP and all that. You will find doing a master's in abroad is a piece of cake.
All right.
You take courses, you pass. As I said, in many universities, thesis is an optional. Doing thesis or not doing a thesis, if you get an if personally, if you ask me, if you get an option to do a thesis, and if you don't want to do a PhD and all that, don't do it. It's a waste of time. Just finish and get it done. It doesn't give you a leverage of anything, in my personal opinion. It just people have sometimes that personal ego. I want to do a thesis. I personally don't see a reason. So unless and until people who wants to go for a PhD program, they say, let me do a thesis, let me write some papers, because that will help me to get into a good PhD program. You know what I mean? But if you don't
Right.
have
Right.
that desire, just finish master, do courses, finish in not even 2 year. If you take courses early, you can finish in 3 semesters and then save money. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So don't worry about that. Like, oh, I want to do thesis. That's a fake ego. For will the fact that I have no research publication affect my master's application? I don't think so. I think you are good enough what you have done. Um, Again, the see, here's the another thing. Um, ma, the master student or undergraduate student is a huge income resource for universities. That's how they make money.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a fact. That's how they make money. I mean, that's a revenue, that tuition that you pay.
Yeah.
For
Right.
example, if you apply a Cornell, they have, I think, a 1 year program in data analytics, or Arizona State University. The cost is like $80,000-$90,000 for a year, but you're done in a year. But that's the cost you pay, or 60, 70, something like that. Really high.
Yes.
What I'm
That's
saying,
true.
yeah, but what I'm saying, you're done in a year. You after that you get a job as Amazon, which pays you 100K or something. So in 2 years, you or 3 years, you pay your debt and you are
Right.
done, and then you have a job. So my point is that's how people think. You understand my point?
Yeah.
And
I'm.
and then and then they are like, I'm living in US and having a good life and this and that. But as I said to you, as for masters, in my personal opinion, if you apply to any of these top so-called top tier universities, is I don't think it should difficult you to get your masters if you are willing to pay from your pocket. But they are not giving you scholarship for sure.
Okay.
See, problem is not getting admission. The challenge is, can you get a scholarship as a master's? That's very, very rare. Very rare. PhD, the only way you get admission to a PhD program, because PhD comes with a scholarship.
Right.
Very rare it is like when you have a person saying that I have a PhD admission, but there is no scholarship. This doesn't happen. PhD comes with a scholarship, which pays your healthcare, tuition, everything, your house rent and everything, and food. But masters is where you pay everything. So 60, 70 tuition plus 20,000, 15 or 20,000 your expenses, home, house, food, and everything. And your healthcare is another, So that's why I think I said 90,000. But that's what it is. So a scholarship is going to make a difference. You can probably get admission in Stanford, but the scholarship is a challenge.
All right.
Yeah. Number 5, how incredible a letter of recommendations will LOR from my college affect my if I come from a tier 3 college? And I think you have done a good job, to be honest with you. As is, all these factors, what you mentioned from, I think, from number 3 to number 4, or research publication and all that, right? All this really depends on, are you applying to tier 1? Are you applying to MITs or Harvards or Stanfords? And
Okay.
then, as I said, I personally think it still does not matter that much, as far as you're willing to pay. So here's the thing: if your GRE score, your GPA is good, you have done the decent job as I see from your CV. I personally think that it should not affect that much. Definitely, they will prefer someone from IITs and all that, no doubt.
Right.
That's what it is. But I personally think that even if you didn't get into, let's say, MIT, but if you get into Texas, Austin, or some good ones, I mean, there is nothing wrong in it. I mean, as I said, if you look into Stanford and you look at the master's student list, if you can find that in computer science, you will find they're from all quarters, everywhere. Probably you will find them there are students there who probably you don't even know the name of the university, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So I don't think that matters. As I said, masters is a revenue stream for them. PhD, you will find it very competitive. PhD, they are extremely, because PhD is where the professor says has to fund the students. So they are extremely careful where you are coming from. They vet them very carefully. Masters, you are not connected to anyone, any professor,
Right.
right? And you are paying. Even they do you all you do is go to class and come back. Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah, yeah. So as far as your GRE score is awesome, your GPA is awesome, you have a decent LOR, I think you can get admission to a good program. But as I said, the only issue would be the scholarship.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, I mean, I had a in-person experience of 3 months last year in a Canadian university, and I
Yeah.
was very.
How was that actually? Your experience in Canada?
That was wonderful, I would say, because first of all, it was my first time going abroad out of my country, and
Uh-huh.
in fact, that
So how did you have to pay anything, or the university paid, or you came with some external scholarship?
no, so I did not pay a penny. Actually, this is a non-profit research organization, MyTax, which is based out of Canada. So they select, I
What's
mean,
the name?
student
What's the name of?
MyTax, MyTax. MITACS.
Okay, it's a non-profit and you apply and you got some money from them. Is that?
Right. So they, yeah, right. So they select students. I mean, I guess from 14 to 15 countries, and they are given grant and funds to pursue a summer internship under some professors in Canadian
Okay, okay.
universities.
Got it.
So that is the program, and
So
so
you have to you have a option to select which university you want to go, and then you contact a professor, or that's how it works?
yeah, so there is you are given seven options based upon the projects and the professor, and then the professor selects. I mean, amongst all the application, and there is a interview round, and after
Okay.
that you are selected.
So yeah, one thing, I mean, as I was telling you, which has my experience has been, and that the universities in North America, I don't know about Europe, but it must be same. But even if you go to not so great universities, you will find that the curriculum and the teaching experience and the way they teach you and everything is really awesome.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if you go to a low tier university, you will find that the dedication to their curriculum and the type of teaching, the way they teach you is really great. The whole experience that's what I'm saying, that experience is really good.
right,
So
right.
if you take that experience, and after then whatever you want to do, you want to stay, you want to go back, it's up to you. But taking that going to go through that experience, I think it's really good actually. Yeah.
Okay,
So but as I said, um if the money part, right, the money part, um I think you should also evaluate, and I don't know, like for example, many students, they give gate and all that, and then they go to IIT Bombay or IC or IIT Delhi and do masters in computers. And I think that's, in my personal opinion, that's not a bad option too. And then you can do whatever you want even after that. So yeah, just
I actually had an ideology on this. I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong, but I mean, you do you pursue 4 year of undergraduate, right?
uh,
And do internships, you do projects. Even some of my peers have research publications. But at the end, if you want to pursue further in India, you need to clear an examination,
yeah.
and you need to solely prepare for that, no matter what you did in your 4 year bachelor's. But you are only judged upon that exam. So that kind of
I thought there is an interview also, right?
yes, I mean, if you are among the top rankers, then the interview is avoided.
Okay, okay.
But uh, yeah, for lower rank, the interview is mandatory.
Yeah, I mean, that's, it is what it is. I mean, in US also, if you look at, even, I don't know right now, but you have to give GRE and all that, right?
Right, right.
So I mean, you are evaluated based on that too. That's what.
But uh,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
I mean,
but
there are universities who have waived GRE and all that, but my point here is, if your GRE score is screwed up, I can tell you, it's very difficult for anyone to get a good admission to a good university, no matter how good publications you have. And I have faced that problem when I was applying. I somehow screwed up my GRE, and I was from IIT. I had a good publications. I had 4 or 5 publications, and every that it didn't matter. So I was not able to get admission into MITs and all that. I saw personally, and then I from last 2 years I have spoken to students, and everybody gave the same feedback.
okay,
So I think, and then sometimes it's frustrating also, that why it happens and why this code mattered so much. But then you have to understand that these are standardized scores, and that's how they have to evaluate you. Otherwise, getting a publication, if you have a good pipeline, you can get 5. You know,
okay, right,
and then that's how
right,
it is. I mean, and how a professor or university evaluates someone, whether you have done, because many times I have seen students who have 5 research or 10 research publications, and I swear to God, I have told them, oh, I have a friend who is looking for a professor, student for a PhD program, and once they go there, they don't even know how to write a single line. So do know who knows who wrote that.
right, right.
So that's a frustration, but if then I realize that, sometimes these are important too. So, and as I said, the JESR, GRE, and SAT, these are standardized scores too. And even now, if you are planning to get into um, good universities, as I say, I think if you have a score, it will help you a lot versus not having, because then they have to evaluate based on where you are coming from. And then if you're coming from tier 3 university or tier 2, then it's not, I don't think it's, I mean, how are they going to evaluate? That's my point.
Right. I agree.
Al-
Yeah.
Although if they say, we are waiving and all that, that's a separate story. So
Yeah. I mean, I had only those questions because in my mind I was very much uh, determined to uh, apply abroad, but there were a couple of confusions and point of doubts.
Mhm.
So I mean
I mean,
that's
I will tell you one thing, beside whether you come to US or come to go to Canada or don't come, yeah, experience is important. That's like you took an experience, you had an experience coming to Canada and doing an internship, right? That
right.
experience matters. Later on, wherever you go, you take that experience and you can do whatever you want. So that experience really matters a lot. I uh, how should I say? But paying for education, I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest with you. But as I said, so many students, they come with loan and all that, and then at the end of the after 2 3 years, everything is fine because, as I said, they pay their loan. But that whole process, that's a very that requires a lot of hardship, and if something happens, you lose your job, and this and that, that kills you a lot. But people survive, people are fine. I'm not trying to scare you, but just think about that too. And the other thing also, I mean, by the time you will finish your master, everything will be fine. But right now the situation is very tricky right now. But by the time you will come and graduate, and things will be good. So
I'm hoping the same. I mean that would be around 2026,
yeah, yeah,
I guess.
you will be okay. Yeah, because the recession comes every, let's say, 5 6 years, so you should be good. But right now, if somebody is graduating right now, I don't think it's a good time. It happened to me when in 2008 the bubble housing market crashed. I graduated in PhD 2009. There were no jobs, nothing. Yeah, we came out through the program and there is nothing. And in US, unlike in India, you have placement. There is no placement here. You hunt on your own.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. So it's not like university is doing a placement service or things like that. It doesn't work that way.
Also, what would you suggest about work experience? I mean, is that benefited or
Yeah. I mean, if you want to do your education, do it right away. Don't waste time. Yeah. It doesn't do
actually?
anything.
Actually, I met a professor at McGill when I was there. So he only suggested me that getting a year or 2 year experience is benefited and I mean recommended more than those who come directly after their undergraduate. That's what he said. So
I mean, what I'm saying is, I feel it may benefit you or not. I don't know, because there are students who come after they finish their masters, right away after their bachelors. I've seen students who come after 2 years. I don't see a difference, to be honest with you, what something is preferred versus. I only see, like, if you really want to do your education, then why to wait for another 2 years? That's all.
right,
The only reason I say is, sometimes people are not sure. They said, let me do a job, and then they don't like it, and then they apply. You know what I mean?
yeah, I agree. I
But I
understand.
personally don't think that that if there is any benefit or preference. Nah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that were my questions.
Okay.
I'm
Cool.
very much convinced right now.
Yeah, no,
about.
I think you're doing great. I think you have done a good job with your CV, and you looks like you're very, you know what you want to do, so that's a good thing. So I think you should be fine. But my only advice would be is just evaluate. It seems to me that, as I said, I was in the same boat where I can't ask my parents to pay for my education, right? So I had to get a scholarship. If you are in the same boat, then um, just evaluate what is right to do. But having said that, as I said to you earlier also, that there are a lot of students come here with loan. They do their education, they get a job, they pay it, and then they start working. And then their life moves on. I would say most of the master students are like that. So you may feel a fear, oh my God, what should I do? Can I do it? There will be loan and all that. If you have that fear, but you really want to come, you have to overcome that fear, and everything will
Right.
be. Yeah. And Canada is not a bad place also in terms of immigration. It's much better than US. US is much tougher to get an immigration. Canada is very, very easy comparatively.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, thanks a lot for taking out time.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. And keep in touch, I would say. If you're on LinkedIn, keep in touch. And if once you come to Canada, just ping me an email or something, and we can talk more later. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Take care, man.
You, you too.
Bye.
Bye bye.